Hello everyone, this is Randy and this is a video concerning Bob Dylan. And Jeff at CalicoSilver, which I'll leave his link down below, great channel, and his favorite artist is Bob Dylan, and he came up with 20 questions that he wanted us to answer, anyone that's a big Dylan fan, about his favorite artist, and I thought I would participate. So, my glasses on, and the first question, what is the first Dylan album you purchased? What year and in what age? I'm not sure what year. It was in the early to mid 70s. I would have been 15 or 16 at the time. And I had joined the Record Club of America. And I don't remember if I picked this album or it was one of the ones they sent you. I think every 1 or 2 months they sent you an album and you could either send it back or I don't remember the whole thing about it, but I just remember that I was in the Record Club of America. This is one of the albums I got. The first Dylan album I got was Bob Dylan's Greatest Hits, which came out in, I'm not sure, sometime in the 70s, I think. But this was the first album I bought. This is Bob Dylan. And I remember going to a friend's house and playing this, and I think I converted him on maybe a couple songs, but he didn't become an outright Dylan fan like I would become. Okay. Second question. Favorite and least favorite Dylan album? Well, my favorite one is Blood on the Tracks. This came out in the 70s, 1974. And it's been my favorite Dylan album for as soon as I heard it, I think. But yeah, that's what my answer for that one is Blood on the Tracks. Love every song on here. Tangled Up in Blue, Shelter from the Storm, You're a Big Girl Now. Idiot Wind, really scathing song right there. And then what's your least favorite Dylan album? Well, I know a couple people had showed Knocked Out Loaded, but I do like the song Brownsville Girl, so I couldn't pick that one. So I'm going to pick Under the Red Sky. I just cannot get into this Dylan album. And the song Wiggle Wiggle is probably my least favorite Dylan album ever. I mean, the least favorite Dylan song ever. But anyway, this would have to be this one here. Okay. A Dylan album you once didn't like very much, but now you love. And that answer to that one's probably New Morning, which at first I couldn't really get into that, but I became more and more of a fan as it went on. I mean, I always knew the song, If Not For You, but finally, time passes slowly. One More Weekend. The Man in Me, I remember hearing that in the Big Lebowski movie, and I think that got me looking back at this album again, New Morning, and I've come to love it. What is your favorite decade of Dylan's albums? It would probably have to be the 60s, even though my favorite album is from the 70s and 74, Blood on the Tracks, but the 60s had all his early great folk albums, and you got like Times Are Changing, and his first album, the self-titled album, Freewheelin' Bob Dylan, and when he went electric, you got Highway 61 and Bring It All Back Home, Blonde on Blonde. All of these are classic albums, and it's probably was his most creative and best period was the 60s. Even though I like a lot of his stuff from the 70s, I'd probably say the 60s are my favorite Dylan decade. Which Dylan album do you think is the most underrated? it would probably be, I was going to take it out of there, but I can't get it out. Infidels, which I was writing for a entertainment publication occasionally, and I was doing some reviews, and this is the only album I ever gave 5 stars, was this Bob Dylan Infidels. And I mean, it's well received, but I think it's more of a classic than people let on. Joker Man is just a wonderful song. I like the 2 ballads on here, Don't Fall Apart on Me Tonight and Sweetheart Like You, but the whole thing I think is a great one, and I like every song on there. So I'd say Infidels. Do you listen to a Dylan album daily, weekly, monthly, or yearly? Say maybe monthly, but I probably listen to Dylan every day. I have a flash drive that I put in my car that has like 7,000 songs on it, and I have quite a few Dylan albums on there, so it's probably likely I'll hear a Dylan song each day, but just putting an album on, it's probably maybe, you know, once a month or twice a month. Which of the following 6 live albums do you listen to the most? Before the Flood, Hard Rain, Budokan, Real Live, Dylan and Dead, or MTV Unplugged? Well, I know this isn't one of the answers, but on the bootleg series, this is probably the one I listen to the most, but since that's not the question, I don't have all of those, so I probably have to say it'd be the Unplugged one. I think it's in fine form on this one, and although I say I've seen Dylan several times, and live it's kind of a hit or miss prospect. You know, I mean, I can remember seeing him one time when I was really excited because I was hoping he was going to do "Things Have Changed," which is in the Wonder Boys soundtrack. And when he sang that song, it was like he was late for a dinner date. He went so fast through it, it was unrecognizable. And so sometimes it's hit or miss live, so I don't really have all of his live albums. I have some of the ones from the bootleg series, and like I said, I do have this one. So that's what I'm going to pick. And did you buy and do you like the Dylan Crooner albums? I have bought 2 of them, and I do like them. I have a Triplicate, which I think is the best one. Oh, I guess I don't have the second one, so I couldn't tell you, but and I really enjoy this one. And I also have the first one, Shadows in the Night, which I like as well. Now this one I found used, and it still had the download card in it the person hadn't even used, so I figured I'll be able to find the other one and eventually, that some people might not get into the Dylan Crooner album, so I should be able to find it eventually, cheaply. And another thing about the Crooner albums is, I think maybe the album before this too, but the band I've probably seen more in concert than any other band is a band called BR549, which kind of a roots rock, alternative country, with some traditional country thrown in, rockabilly. But they had a guy in the band who played the steel called Donnie Heron, and he later became a Bob Dylan steel player. So that's kind of when I first wanted to hear him, see him in concert, play with Bob Dylan, and get these Crooner albums, which he's very good on. Donnie Heron on steel for Bob Dylan. Do you collect unofficial Dylan bootleg recordings? And if so, do you listen to them? Well, I didn't really collect his bootleg recordings. The only one I bought was this Royal Albert Hall one, but then later on he went ahead and released it officially on CD, so I don't really need to listen to, I mean, I can listen to the official one than the bootleg one, so I guess it's yes and no on that one. Next one. What Dylan song will be covered the most 50 years from now? Well, he's got so many songs, but the one I picked was Forever Young. And I know quite a few people, like Rod Stewart and several, have done this song. I just think that's a song, and with the sentiment involved, that might be around 50 years from now. So I'm going to go with Forever Young. It was on Planet Waves. Next question. What Dylan album will still be on Rolling Stone's greatest albums of all time in 50 years? Well, I would guess this one, Blood on the Tracks, which is my favorite. I mean, it's still high on their list, but if anybody's seen the last list that Rolling Stone put out, they seem to have forgotten a lot of the artists from the 50s and 60s, and that trend continues. Who knows, but I would hope that Bob Dylan will still be on there. Do you like to interpret Dylan's lyrics, or do you prefer to just enjoy the poetic feel to them? Are you bothered at others' interpretations? I'm not bothered at others' interpretations because I always want to hear what other people say and go, and if it fits in with my interpretation, that's fine. If it doesn't and I feel maybe I was wrong, I would like to see other possibilities, but I don't go too far into that. I mean, I don't research to see what other people have said for the most part. Usually have what my idea what the song means, and that's good enough for me. But I'm not opposed to hearing other people's interpretations. Do you welcome, embrace, explore, ignore, deny, defy the biblical content in Dylan's lyrics? No, I enjoy it. And another artist that does that a lot, a newer artist, is Josh Ritter, and I like biblical references, literary references, references to other songs, but no, I have no problem with that, and I enjoy it. What is your favorite book about Dylan? Well, actually, I don't have any books about Dylan. I think I only have one book about any musical artist, and that's one book on The Who. Now, as far as cinema, I have tons of books on different actors, actresses, and directors, but I don't know, for some reason I haven't bought a lot of books on musical artists. But so I would say I don't have one. So 16. Do you like the Scorsese Rolling Thunder documentary? Well, to be honest, it was a long time ago when I saw it, and I don't remember much about it, to tell the truth. So it didn't leave much of an impression on me. Is Dylan your number one performing artist? If no, who is? And if yes, who is number two? Well, Dylan is probably number two. But my number one artist, if anybody's seen some of my videos, knows it's Van Morrison. Van Morrison is my favorite artist, probably always will be. But Bob Dylan's right in there at number two. Are you the only member of your household who is a Dylan fan? Yes. 19. Should Dylan have retired at some point, and if so, when? Well, this album came out this year. And I think it's great. So no, I don't want him to retire, and I would love to hear more music by him. I mean, a lot of people have said this would be a fitting culmination of his work, but I would love to have him do more albums. But I did love his latest. And the last question: which will be remembered or revered longest in the future, the Beatles, the Stones, or Dylan? That's a hard one to answer, but I remember I was taking an English lit class, and this has been years ago, and there was a chapter or whatever, I don't remember, it was about poetry. Had William Blake and Longfellow and all these different people, and they had Bob Dylan lyrics in there. So just because of his lyrics and esteem, I'd say Bob Dylan, but I could be wrong. Could be the Beatles. Beatles would be my second choice, but anyway, that's. Thank you, Jeff, for having these questions, and I enjoyed answering them. Anybody else that wants to do that, you can look on the link I have below. And thanks everybody for watching.